What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Vegas 93. We have Tatsuro Taira going against Alex Perez in a card that has just completely fallen apart the last couple days. We lost my favorite fight in the card. We lost Tagir Ulanbekov, Joshua Van. That sucks. I had a bet on that one. And then also we lost Ikram Aliskerov going against Antonio Tricoli. And I was going to have a couple bets on that one as well. So right off the bat, lost some action there. Originally thought I was going to be a lot heavier on this card, but ended up with only 5 units on the line, which is probably fine for a card like this. And then maybe looking at adding maybe something more, we'll see. But yeah, gonna get into it now from a betting perspective and a betting perspective only. If you guys want a further, more in-depth breakdown on why I'm picking who or betting what, I did do a full card breakdown and prediction video on Monday, and then also went live on Friday for some final thoughts. But yeah, talking some bets here. First fight of the card, and this bout order is so messed up, man. I mean, they changed the bout order a record amount of times this week, like a record amount of times. So we'll just go with this order as of now. We got Mel Costa going against Shalion Nerdenbeke. This is a fight that I've been flipping back and forth on throughout the week, and I kind of ended up more so on the Costa side here. I feel like if this fight does go the distance, though, Shaleon's going to be very live to win a decision. I feel like if this fight does go the distance, it means that he's able to get takedowns. He's able to be, semi-competitive on the feet. But the more I thought about the fight, the more I think, Shaleon's been finished 9 times in his career. Shaleon, I don't trust the durability. I don't trust the cardio as well. On the feet, you have to favor Costa. And then even on the ground, I think Nerdenbeke can get takedowns there. It's just his submission defense is not great. Getting finished 9 times is a major concern. And then you take a look at who he's getting finished against. And yes, it was a couple years ago, but still, he's getting finished by very, very low-level competition. So the way I'm seeing this is I think it's Shaleon by decision or Mel Costa either by decision, or I think those late finish props are very live for Mel Costa once Shaleon starts to slow down. So what I have here is these late props on Mel Costa, quarter unit on each, plus 750 for round 2, plus 1300 for round 3. And then also I don't mind the Shaleon decision only. I'm not sure what the odds are on that, but I think that's kind of how I'm seeing the fight. I think if Shaleon can go the full 15, he makes it very competitive, but I'm kind of leaning towards Costa finishing like a gassed out Nerdenbeke down the stretch. So half unit shot on these Costa late props. I think they're going to be super live there. Next, we have Josephine Knudsen going against Julia Pilastri. I like Knudsen here. Knudsen by decision. It's kind of like the decision props minus 135. When the money line's minus 170, at that point, you might as well just take the money line there. But yeah, I'm passing on this fight. I think it goes 15 minutes. The odds makers agree with that. It's like minus 350 for the fight to go to decision. And it's going to come up to these crooked corrupt judges. What have these judges been doing lately, man? Some of these scorecards these last 2 weeks have been just absolutely brutal. So Knudsen can win a 30-27, and she might lose 30-27 the other way. So yeah, it's Knudsen for the win, but I don't think Pilastri is terrible at all. I think she's actually pretty good. So it could be semi-competitive, but I think Knudsen can win minutes wherever this fight goes. Next, we have Jekka Sergey going against poor Weston Wilson. And yeah, my night comes down to violence in this fight and in the Maness fight. I have a 3-unit parlay on Jekka Sergey, Weston Wilson under 1.5 rounds, parlayed with the Nate Maness, Jimmy Flick under 2.5 rounds. It came out to minus 145, 3 units on it to win a little bit over 2 units. I think this fight finishes early. I think it finishes in the first round. Weston Wilson's not seen a second round in like 14 fights at this point, and you watch his fights and you can kind of see why. No striking defense, no chin at all. On the feet, Jekka Sergey, is he great? No, he's not at all. But what Jekka Sergey does do is he hits very hard. He puts everything into all of his strikes, and I think that's enough to probably knock out Weston Wilson. With that said, if this fight hits the ground at any point, whether it's Wilson pulling guard, whether it's Wilson getting dropped and ending up on his back, whether it's Wilson getting a takedown, which I'm not convinced he does. But if this fight hits the mat, Weston Wilson is super live for a submission. Jekka Saragi's been subbed twice. He's been finishing all 3 of his losses. So I don't want to bet a side here, especially Saragi minus 350. What I do like, though, is that under 1.5 rounds. Give me somebody to get served within the first 7.5 minutes. I also looked at maybe Weston Wilson early submission sprinkles, but they're not great prices. They're all over it. So yeah, it's the under 1.5 for me in a parlay. Gabriela Fernandez going against Carly Judice. Yeah, not much sticking out here. The line movement does kind of surprise me a little bit. Apparently, a lot of people are high on Judice. I think she's actually good. Like I was surprised to see how good her striking was. She's only 4 fights in her MMA career, but Gabriela Fernandez is a very good striker in her own right. Gabriela Fernandez, when she's losing fights, she's getting taken down and controlled, and I haven't seen Judice land one takedown, which, hey, that might change here. It's just I haven't seen it yet. So I do expect this fight to take place standing for 15 minutes. And on the feet, Carly Judice, she's just very hittable. I think she's going to get hit in the face a lot. She's going to get kicked a lot in this matchup. I lean towards Gabriela Fernandez to win this fight. And I was looking at maybe like a finish prop for Fernandez, but I feel like it's one of those fights where Fernandez is going to hurt Judice multiple times. Judice is going to be super tough, and this fight's probably going to go 15. So, yeah, it's going to be a pass for me. The pick is Fernandez, but yeah, maybe Judice can make it close. I think her striking is pretty good, and hey, if Judice does come out here and wrestle, maybe Fernandez's ground game is so bad that even Judice can go out there and get a control time. So it's a fight that a lot of people are betting. I don't think I'll be one of those people. Next, we got Garrett Armfield going against Brady Heastan. And yeah, so I have nothing to bet on this fight as of yet. If you guys are on the website, be on the lookout for a potential bet on this fight. And if I add anything on this fight, I'll be putting it in the comments. I just don't know how to play it. There's some things I like. I just don't know how to play it as of yet. So it's a striker versus grappler matchup where on the feet, I think Armfield has an astronomical advantage. Brady Heastan, he's very hittable. I think he's a little bit chinny as well. We've seen him dropped in every single one of his UFC fights thus far. And Garrett Armfield, he has power. He's a finisher, 80% finish rate. Brady Heastan, if he gets the fight down to the mat, Armfield struggled there multiple times. Armfield's been submitted twice in his career. His other loss comes against Ronnie Lawrence, where I wasn't able to watch that fight, but knowing Ronnie Lawrence, he probably took him down in every single round like 20 times. So yeah, Armfield, as a big dog, he certainly has a path here. It's just he's so hittable on the feet. And if Armfield's able to stuff takedowns, I think Armfield looks minus 1,000. I really do. If he's able to stuff takedowns. But Brady's a tough dude. He has a lot of heart. I'll give him that. And as the more this fight goes on, the more it's going to favor Brady Heastan. So I think I'm going to potentially add something on here. Maybe, I don't know. And if I do, like I said, I'll put it down in the comments. And, of course, on the website, it'll be up there as well. But, yeah, next we got Nate Maness going against Jimmy Flick. Under 2.5 for me. I'm keeping it simple. I like Nate Maness to go out there and knock out Jimmy Flick, but so does everybody else. Nate Maness inside the distance is minus 300. I don't think I've seen an inside the distance prop that wide in a very long time. Maybe since like Romanov versus Chase Sherman. I mean, that's crazy for a flyweight fight, let alone. So just goes to show you that yeah, Nate Maness is probably gonna go out there and finish Jimmy Flick. I'm very confident in Nate Maness to go out there and finish Jimmy Flick. I just don't really see a way to play Nate Maness side. Nate Maness KO minus 235. I hate it. Laying minus 235 on a KO prop is ridiculous. But really, the only thing I could do here is the only thing you could do is be contrarian and take something on the Flick side, which I don't really want to do. Take an over, which I absolutely don't want to do. So I just parlayed up the square under 2.5 rounds, minus 450. I'd be very, very surprised if this fight went 12.5 minutes. I think Flick, it's his first round submission off his back or bust, and then Nate Maness is live for a knockout or a TKO ground and pound victory at any point in this fight. So give me the under 2.5 parlayed with the Wilson Saragi under 1.5, and that's my big parlay for the week. Next, we got Josh Quinlan going against Adam Fugit. There's some fights on this main card. First of all, I don't know. I mean, Josh Quinlan, I feel like this is a get right spot for him potentially. It's just I'm still not bought in on Josh Quinlan. I'm still not sold on the guy. But in this matchup, I feel like he's going to have some opportunities to get a knockout. Adam Fugit, he's very hittable. Adam Fugit's been knocked out twice in his career. He's been dropped a ton. in his career. Josh Quinlan, he does really one thing well, and that he has power. He hits very hard. Josh Quinlan has good takedown defense. He has a black belt in BJJ as well, so if the fight does hit the mat, he's not going to be a fish out of water, at least early. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Quinlan's volume thus far has looked horrible. The urgency is not there, so he's just not a guy I want to bet on. Adam Fugit, I feel like he's going to be a popular dog this week because he is the definition of a dog. He's the definition of a guy that will fight for your money. Unlike Quinlan, it's just I feel like Quinlan potentially knocks him out here. Is kind of where I'm leaning. But the KO props only plus 140. His money line's like minus 120, so I don't think there's much sticking out. And if this fight does go 15 minutes, Fugit probably does win because Quinlan just doesn't do enough. So I don't know. I don't like this fight. Next, we got Asu Amabayev going against Jose Johnson. We got Amabayev minus 600. Jose Johnson plus 425. And yeah, I have a couple bets here. I'm on the under 2.5 rounds, 1 unit at minus 145. That price has actually improved throughout the week. And then I'm also on Asu Amabayev submission round 2, quarter unit plus 500. And then Asu Amabayev submission round 3, quarter unit plus 900. And that's kind of how I'm seeing the fight play out. On the feet, Jose Johnson can knock out really anybody in the division. This guy has so much power, especially at flyweight now. Like, this guy has a ton of power if that power carries down to this weight class. And then Asu Amabayev, good wrestling, good grappling, has finished half his wins by submission. Jose Johnson's been submitted 4 times. Jose Johnson makes a ton of mistakes on the mat. He gives up his back all the time. So I feel like it's going to be Jose Johnson by KO or Amabayev getting the fight down to the mat, getting the back, and submitting Jose Johnson in the second or third round. So give me the under first and foremost, liking violence here in this flyweight fight, and then also taking the submission sprinkles on Asu Amabayev round 2, round 3. Next, we got Douglas Silva de Andrade going against Miles Johns. It's a big giant pass here for me. I mean, I think Andrade is super live, but he's 38 years old, and the thing that scares me is that, first and foremost, but Miles Johns is a very good decision winner, like minute winner. Like, Miles Johns has never lost a decision in his career, so I kind of feel like if Andrade is winning this fight, I think this fight could be close, but it would have to be by finish potentially. I don't know. Yeah, nothing really sticking out here. It's certainly a dog or pass, but I don't have a ton of faith in Andrade at this point, so it's a pass. Next fight, Kwamba Almeida, probably the biggest pass on the card. I'm actually shocked this is on the main card, but at this point, it kind of has to be with no fights on this card at this point. Timmy Kwamba at minus 200 is kind of crazy, but at the same time, Lucas Almeida, another guy I just don't have a ton of faith in. Another guy that just hasn't looked great thus far in the UFC outside of the Trezano fight. Kwamba, the minute winner in this matchup, the more technical striker, the guy with the wrestling upside. Almeida, more of the wild man, landing the bigger shots, the more dangerous guy in this matchup. I guess the only thing I would be looking at here is potentially an over, which is crazy to say because it's a Lucas Almeida fight, and I think he's been over like maybe one time in his career. But Timmy Kwamba is one of these guys who is going to fight smart. I think a lot of his fights are going to go to decision, but even that's like terrifying, man. So yeah, nothing sticking out on this co-main event. I hate it. And I don't even think it's the co-main. I think the actual co-main event's the Andrade Johns fight. But again, they've changed the card around 50 times on me. Main event time. We have Tatsuro Taira going against Alex Perez. The only thing I was looking at here is like Taira sub. It's not a great price tag. I mean, plus 120 for Taira sub. Plus 120 on a sub prop's not the most exciting play in the world. Taira inside the distance, minus 125. I don't like that. My concern here is, what happens if Tatsuro does not get takedowns, which there's a possibility he doesn't. Alex Perez has elite takedown defense. He's very hard to take down, and Taira doesn't have like the wrestling of a Muhammad Mokaev. His grappling's incredible. So I feel like if he does get a takedown, if he does get to the back, he will submit Perez. It's just, will he get there is the question. I lean towards at some point in this fight, Taira will get the fight down to the mat, and when he does, he will get the sub. But I don't know, I have a weird feeling about this fight. Like, it's a massive step up in competition for Taira. This is a big test for the dude. And the takedown defense of Perez is kind of scaring me away from playing anything on this fight. So if anything, I would be on the sub prop, but it's not the best price. I think I'm going to sit back and just watch this main event. So there you guys have it. I'm sorry. I thought I'd have a ton more action on this card, but some of these odds are they're trash. Quite frankly, I think they're all over it this week. I think they did a great job with some of these lines. I mean, minus 235 for Nate Maness knockout. What can you do? And then also we lost 2 fights. I had a bet on the Tagir fight, and then I was going to have a couple bets on the Ikram fight. So going to keep it light this week and then attack next week, Saudi Arabia, and then UFC 303 especially. I'm looking at potentially my first max bet for UFC 303 coming up here in 2 weeks. So quick recap. Austin Mabayev, Jose Johnson under 2.5 rounds. 1 unit, minus 145. The Austin Mabayev submission round 2 and round 3 sprinkles, quarter unit on each, plus 500 for round 2, plus 900 for round 3. My big parlay of the week is 3 units on the Maness Flick under 2.5, parlayed with the Wilson Cheka Seregi under 1.5. Came out to minus 145, so looking to win a little bit over 2 units there. Mel Costa, 2-3 sprinkles, quarter unit on each, round 2, plus 750, round 3, plus 1,300. And then the only thing I'm looking at adding would maybe be something in the Armfield Heastan fight, something violence related. I'm not sure yet, but check down in the comments if I do add anything. But I'm not sure how I want to play it. There's a couple different ways I want to potentially go. If not, just stay away. But yeah, that's all I got for this week. Best of luck, everybody, for UFC Vegas 93. Enjoy the card. It feels like all the hype just died from this card the last couple of days, but it should be fun. Late start time. Check out Best Bet 5 Eastern time. Best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. See you later.